Welcome to today's training where I'm excited to share with you how to cut through all the helpful advice you might be getting right now. Helpful advice, and stay focused to build your business, because here's what I know for sure. This time of year especially, we're so often surrounded by people who want to give us their input on our businesses, their helpful advice. And it can be so hard to turn off the noise that people can get into our heads with, and to stay focused and stay on track to keep going with our businesses. I've been getting this question a lot lately. Someone told me this, what do you think of it? Someone told me this, what do you think of it? And I want to share the one tip that I have for you that is going to help make all of this a lot easier. I want to share what's been working so well for my 6-month mentorship clients. And I want to hear your examples to help you reframe this. So I'd love for you to say hello. I'd love for you to share with me if you've been getting some helpful advice or not so helpful advice that has been getting all up in your head. You know what I'm saying? Someone says, well, you should think about this, or what do you think about this? And you're like, I don't know, should I be thinking about this? I wonder, right? And then it can lead you down a whole rabbit trail or down a spiral, or it can make you question something you felt really sure of. Listen, it's really, really common. It happens to all of us. Usually from the people who are closest to us in our lives, usually from the people we care most about impressing, usually through the people that we really, really want to think we're smart and we're doing such a great job. And so those are the people that are we even more need to have that clear answer and frame in our minds. So if you haven't met, or it's been a while, my name is McAllister. I'm the founder of Life with Passion and the author of the best-selling book, The Income Replacement Formula: 7 Simple Steps to Doing What You Love and Making 6 Figures from Anywhere. As you can tell, I love the color red, right? And really, this book is what I'm all about at Life with Passion, helping you do what you love and make the kind of money that you want, working from anywhere, replacing your income and then some. So we're talking about an aspect of this today, which is the entrepreneurial rite of passage of what happens when friends, family, maybe even our spouse or our significant other, the person who's closest to us in our lives, the person whose opinion we respect the most. What happens when that person challenges us, gives us unhelpful advice, or tells us we should be doing something different? Has that ever happened to you? Because my friend, it's happened to me more times than I can count, by my husband and by multiple other people in my life. So I want to know, am I the only one? Are my clients and I the only ones that this has ever happened to? Tell me in the comments. We can keep this between us. And cheers to that with my cup of Christmas tea. All right, here's what happens. A lot of my 6-month clients have come to me lately saying, I need your help with this. Someone said this to me and I'm wondering what you think about it. I need your help with this. Someone gave me this piece of advice and it really got under my skin, or it made me question what I was doing, or I wonder if we should be taking a different direction. So I want to give you some examples so that you can maybe see yourself in some of these things. Someone said to me, one of my 6-month clients came to me and said, Christine, someone said to me that maybe I should be trying something else. Maybe I should be trying a different direction than what I'm doing. And I want to talk with you about that. She said, this person said, hey, is it time to consider trying something else in your business? Okay, changing directions. All right. Another one of my clients came to me and said, she's still in her 9-to-5, and she said, Christine, someone came up to me at work and asked me what my UVP was, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know what my UVP is. Do I need to figure that out? Oh my gosh, is there something wrong with me? Am I wasting my time? Ah! Can we talk about that? Okay. It's another example. Another one of my clients came to me and said, Christine, I'm wondering if I should really be going to some of these big entrepreneurial events in order to network, in order to get my face out there, in order to get my name out there. I really want to become known as the go-to person in my niche. What do you think I should do? Has anyone ever said this to something like this to you? Let me know. I'll give you a personal example. An unsupportive spouse or unsupportive significant other, super, super common. I have had some really difficult conversations with my own husband around this. There have been times when he said, Christine, is this really the direction for you, or is it time to look at something else? Ouch. Ouch. And the reason that I want you to hear me say this and that I share that is because I've been in this business for 3 years. I've generated multiple six figures in my business. And I get this question from the person who I want in my idealistic world to be my biggest champion. Anybody else want the person closest to them to be like, you can do no wrong, you're the best ever, go get this, and like be the person who celebrates those things with you the most? I know that that's something that I really want. And I also know that because my husband is an employee, built that way, loves his job, loves being a company man, that is not my reality. And I want to share that with you because it doesn't mean you can't be as successful as you want. All right? So I'm going to check the comments here. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Jenny. Emily says it's so true. Very important this time of year to stay focused on what we know we want completely. And also so easy to get derailed, right? One little comment can like ruin a day, right? Leah says, last night this happened to you with your husband. Yeah, Leah, so if you want to share any more about that, I'd be happy to address that directly, you or anyone else. But totally, and I hope that what I just shared was helpful for you, my friend. So what the heck do we do in this situation? All right, what do we do in this situation? If you want to know the easiest thing to do, the easiest tip that I can give you and the process that I walk my clients through, here is the question that I would ask you, okay? Are you ready? The question that I would ask you, and this comes from Darren Hardy, who's a big time entrepreneur, big time in the self-development, personal development space. He says, only take advice from somebody you would trade places with. Only take advice from somebody you would trade places with. Okay? So I'm going to go through these examples that I just gave you, and we're going to break them down, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of the insights behind them. And then if any of you have examples you want me to walk through, I'd be happy to do that as well, knowing that if you have had it happen, it's probably happened to somebody else who's watching this too, and you can be helpful not only to yourself, but to them by being open and vulnerable and sharing, and also get some insight for how to move forward, right? Woohoo! Okay, perfect. So the first client that I mentioned who said that she had someone come to her and say, hey, do you think it's time to try something else? So she was really up in her head about this when we talked about it. And my first question to her was, okay, cool. Let's take a look at this piece of advice, this piece of feedback. But first of all, let's take a look at where it came from. That's the thing that I want you to start training your mind around. Who did it come from? Because my friends, talk is cheap, right? So I asked my client, is this person somebody whose business you would love to have? Is this person somebody who you would love to trade places with? And she said, oh no, not at all. Not at all. Like I wouldn't want their life and I wouldn't want their business. And I was like, okay, so how seriously are we going to take this advice, right? How are we going to file that? And she said, Christine, you're so right. I don't want their business. I want my business or their job. I want my business on my terms, right? I want to be living this lifestyle of freedom. I want to be making money on my own terms, doing what I want, when I want, working with who I want. right? And so often your clients and customers are working with you because you have what they want. Because you are the person who has what they want, right? My clients come to me, they want a freedom-based business. They want to make 6 figures or more, right? They want to replace their incomes and then some, because that's what I have done and that's what I help my clients to do. So no matter what your business is, there's something about you as a person that makes them want to work with you and pay you for your thing, pay you for your services, pay you for your products, pay you for whatever you offer them, because they want a piece of what you have. There's a part of your life or your business that they would like to trade places with. That's so important to remember. Okay, so that's example number 1. Number 2, my client who got asked in her day job, what's your UVP? Now you may even be watching this going, I don't know what a UVP is, Christine, does that mean I'm doomed to fail? And the thing is that a UVP or a USP is a unique value proposition, a unique service proposition. It's very much corporate venture capitalist, angel investor, entrepreneur speak. Most of us are not seeking angel investors in our business. Most of us are not going for Series A funding. Most of us are not going in front of venture capitalists and making these pitches. And if you don't even know what any of that stuff is, well, you don't need to, right? I have some friends who are in that space, so I happen to know what that means. But what I said to her was, okay, is this an employee, a coworker who you would trade places with? And I said, you know what? Sometimes people throw out these big entrepreneurial words that they heard somewhere because it makes them feel smart, and it's the only thing that they might know about being an entrepreneur, right? It's like, oh, I heard on Shark Tank, someone said, what's your USP? And I'm making that up. I don't know if they ever said that on Shark Tank, but like maybe they have a friend who is an investor and is like, oh, USP, UVP, whatever. If you don't know what it means, I don't mean there's not anything wrong with you. It just means that it's not relevant to your life and your business at this point. Can I get an amen? Okay. So what I said to her was, all right, so is this person someone you would trade places with? Number 1, she said no. Okay. I said, number 2, why is this person even using this word? Did he hear it at a cocktail party? Did he use it at a cocktail party? Right. Is he trying to make himself smart? She goes, oh, well, this is a person who is in my company, is on the like venture capital team, right? Seeking to make investments or like buy up other companies or whatever at the business company that she works for. And I went, okay, perfect. So he's speaking his language, completely different niche, completely different focus that you're in. Maybe just trying to make conversation or maybe trying to challenge you. Doesn't matter the motive, not someone you would trade places with. You don't want to be an employee. Bye-bye, right? So that's number 2. Third, my client who said, should I be going to these like in-person entrepreneurial events? Now, for one thing, this person's an extrovert. So I know that for her, it might be energizing, right? Because I always take a look at my clients' like personality preferences and how that builds your business uniquely. Sorry, I feel like my hair's kind of frizzy right here. I'm trying to get it. Camera, whatever. Anyway, so I was like, it's kind of weird that you're using the word should when you're talking about doing something that would normally energize you. She's like, I don't know, maybe I'm not getting out enough. I know her business inside and out. Guess what? She's kicking so much butt in her niche. If she doesn't want to leave the house and travel places right now because that doesn't feel good or energizing for her, there are so many ways we can build her business and get her even more known if she wants to double her revenue, scale up her business, scale up her team, scale up her visibility, that don't require her doing something that feels like a should, right? So if it feels like a should, whether someone says to you, should you be doing this? Should you be thinking about that, Christine? Or whether it's the voice in your head that's like, well, you should be going to an event, or you should be doing this because someone else did it, or you should be posting in this way, or you should be doing themed posts, or you should start a Facebook group, or you should kill it on Instagram. You should post more stories. You should be on LinkedIn. You should go over to YouTube and dominate. You should focus on 3 businesses at once. You should do this. You should do that. Whatever the should, trash it. Should is not a way to build a business you're passionate about. Should is not a way to build a business that you love that feels like freedom. Should is a way to replace how you feel or felt in your 9 to 5. And I see it all the time with people who build their business based on shoulds or have tos or whatever. So are you building a business based on shoulds? Are you telling yourself, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, right? Or someone else telling you you should be doing it, because that's the only way to be successful, because I'm going to challenge that 100 million percent. All right, I'm going to check the comments, and I want you to tell me if any of those things resonate with you or have sent off some light bulbs for you. Okay, Jenny says, my parents don't even know that I'm working on this because I know what they would say. They've made side comments already. Beautiful. I love that, Jenny, and here's why. Don't throw your entrepreneurial pearls before swine. Now, my first caveat is I'm not calling any of your family members or friends pigs, but what happens, it's like making a gourmet meal or something that takes even longer than a gourmet meal. It's like slaving over some craft project that's really intricate for like months at a time that you know is your passion and your baby, and like giving it as a gift to somebody who only buys things that are like fast fashion, cheap, throwaway. They don't value quality at all, much less handmade, right? Much less the time that it takes to put into something. I don't know why I gave you that example, because I'm not a crafty, like handy crafty person, but I love buying stuff on Etsy from people who are, and I respect the heck out of it. I don't know if you can see right here behind me, like above my glowing salt lamp right there. It's kind of faint, but it's this beautiful hand-cut, hand-folded book that's open and has the word passion cut across it. And my husband gave it to me as a birthday gift. And I love it so much because the passion that went into creating every piece of that hand-folded, hand-cut art, right, came from Etsy. It's a work of art, right? I value that. So like, if we know there are people in our lives, I have one who every holiday where I see her, she says, she still asks me if I'm going to do something else. In fact, I'm going to be seeing her in a few weeks. I'm like, oh, brother, you know, kind of like gearing up for that, right? Still, multiple six figures into this business, a best-selling book into this business, you know, she still asks me, you know, Christine, not everybody can quit their jobs and start their own businesses. I mean, you're going to run out of clients. Like, not everybody can do that. And then she'll start giving me examples of people who couldn't do it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to the people who have that desire, who have that passion, who have that calling, right? But in the beginning, I mean, I care about what she thinks. It was hard. So now I know to just kind of like not take it seriously, laugh it off if she makes a point of bringing it up, but also not to really throw my entrepreneurial pearls before swine, right? To find the 99 million other things I can talk to her about that she gets, that she understands, that we have in common, being family, having shared family members, right? All of that stuff. Finding the common ground rather than trying to convince her of something that's completely different. Leah says, what I'm doing is not showing a profit, and husband called it a hobby rather than a business. He wants me to get a job. I feel that too, Leah. And honestly, that's part of growing just about every business, right? Is like, if you look at the way, I was just talking to a client about this, we were talking about taxes, right? And I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant, but I have been doing entrepreneurial taxes since 2005. So I know a thing or two. And my mom's a CPA. And I also have a CPA who does my stuff now, who I love working with. So, and it took me, you know, over a decade to find her. So anyway, what I told her is like, the way that the tax structure is set up is with businesses is for you to have a certain amount of time in order to show a profit. Now, I believe that an online business is the quickest way to show a profit because you don't have a lot of overhead. Advertising can be completely free, and you're trading, you know, it's sweat equity, right? What my dad calls sweat equity. You're investing your time in order to get a return. I don't have a retail space that I pay for every month. I don't have anything like that. I have services, you know, and I have a community, right? And I host that for free. And so building an online business is the least expensive way, if you do it right, to build a business and show a profit and be lean and do that as fast as possible. However, in any business, you invest. You invest in yourself. You invest in yourself, which I think is the greatest, biggest, most important investment you can make, so that no matter what your business winds up looking like, you take your CEO thoughts and your CEO mentality and personality, and learning to not think like an employee anymore and learning to think like an entrepreneur. That goes with you, right? This is my 4th successful business. And every time I've gotten better because I have heavily, heavily invested in myself, especially in the last few years. And that return on investment is greater and greater and greater. Now, that said, a lot of times we invest in other things, and sometimes we overspend in that stuff, and sometimes we only learn the hard way, right? But I would say that like the thing to start remembering is that like every investment, especially one that you're making in yourself, is an investment that's going to pay multiple dividends. In fact, there's the top entrepreneurial writer, top writer overall on medium.com. His name is Benjamin P. Hardy. And he wrote this article that I quote in my book called, if you want to be a multimillionaire, do these 14 things immediately. And the number one thing is to invest at least 10% of your income in yourself. And so, because he says that for every dollar you spend, you're going to get a 100x return if you invest in yourself. You can invest in systems, you can invest in software, all that stuff. That stuff comes and goes, and it's important at a certain time in your business to automate whatever. But the greatest investment that you can make is an investment in yourself. And I think that, a lot of times in conversations with our husbands and conversations with our significant others, we're not going to change them. We're not going to change them. And a lot of times if we use what they say to beat ourselves up and try to push ourselves to go harder to make a profit faster, I know that there have been times I've done that in my business, like take those conversations really hard in a season when maybe I'm not growing as fast as I want to because I have such high standards for myself. Hello, recovering perfectionist. But I found that that's not helpful. So please don't do that to yourself. Please don't like self-flagellate, beat yourself with a whip on the back and go, oh, just, push myself harder. Just push myself harder. I have to figure this out. I have to figure this out. Like that pressure is coming from the outside. And that's not a way to build a business that you're passionate about. Knowing that you can't change him, but that you also have the ability to make your own choices and decisions in your life, you can paint the picture of what the business is going to do for the two of you. You can paint the picture of what the business is going to do for your family and all of the things that you're excited about creating. And that's a beautiful way to start, showing that you're taking this seriously, that this is something you're going after, that to you, it's not a hobby. This is a business you're creating to change your life, to change your family's life. And any of us could go get a job at any time, right? Or if you're still in your 9 to 5, you can stay there, right? But we're creating something more because we are created for something more. And that's why we're even having this conversation. Let me know if that helps, Leah. Jenny says, I just gave my cousin a cross stitch that I did for their new daughter. Yeah, totally. I used to cross stitch a lot, actually, when I was younger. I've always been kind of an old soul. And I like cross stitched in middle school a lot. Isn't that interesting? So, okay. So totally true that I want a show of hands. Who in here would consider themselves either sensitive or an introvert, or maybe both? A, sensitive. Let's do it this way. Drop an A if you consider yourself sensitive. Drop a B if you consider yourself an introvert. Drop a C if you consider yourself a perfectionist or having perfectionist tendencies. Let me know in the comments. A, if you consider yourself, and sorry, there's a cardinal who just came to see me on my window. A, if you consider yourself sensitive. B, if you consider yourself an introvert. C, if you consider yourself a perfectionist. Hey, lay down. What's that? Whatever you want, you're gonna have to wait, honey. Dog life. Here's why I ask. Because ignoring the helpful advice of other people can become even harder if you are a sensitive person, if you're an introvert, if you are a perfectionist. A lot of times if we're sensitive, we also tend to take on other people's expectations. We tend to feel everything that other people are feeling. And then it becomes really hard to sort out what we're feeling and what they're feeling, right? And so it kind of all becomes a jumbled mess, and we could like be having a really hard day and not even know why. Well, it could be because our husband came home in a bad mood or whatever, or because our kid just stressed us out. Anybody? My kid is a toddler right now, right? So her mood changes every 5 seconds, like no joke. If I can't have a tortilla, I'm going to throw myself on the ground. Like, it's real, right? And so if you've had a kid that age or you've been around one, you know that I'm not making that up. I would not have believed how mercurial a 2-year-old could be until I lived with one, right? So, you know, if you're around people and you consider yourself one or more of those things, this is when this information and this implementing this piece of advice and coaching is very crucial to you, because you are going to be affected more than the average person if you have 1, 2, or even all 3 of these tendencies like I do. All right, so Jenny is saying B and C, a little bit of A. Debbie's saying all 3. Leah is saying C. Thank you all for letting me know that. I have a training coming up that has to do with perfectionism too, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. I've already got it started to outline here in my Fabu journal. All right, so here's what I want to remind you. Only take advice from someone you trade places with. And you are ultimately the only one who gets to determine the success or failure of your business. All right? What is required to have a successful business? You need clarity, right? You need self-belief, and you need persistent, consistent action. Clarity brings you simple strategies, which is how you show up with persistency and consistency, right? Self-belief, I'm talking about doing the work or getting the support to overcome the self-doubt and the fear and the lack of confidence that's been holding you back from deciding on a niche, from making offers, from believing and being sold on yourself that you can help other people and that your offers are worth them paying you to help. Because if you don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe it. If you don't believe you are the best person to help the right people in your niche of X, Y, and Z, nobody else is going to believe it either. But I think that when we are sensitive and or introverted and or perfectionist type people, we see people who are farther along than us. We see people who maybe appear to be doing it better or have been doing it for longer or who have XYZ training or certification, and we immediately dismiss ourselves, or we look to external validation from people like potential clients, leads, how people respond to our posts, the engagement we're getting when we're visible. We look to those things to validate whether or not our idea is good or whether or not we're ever going to be successful. And so when I get questions like, Christine, my engagement's been down this week. I got that from one of my 6-month clients, or it's been down over the past couple of weeks, which makes me think that whatever thing I've been doing, I've been making an offer and nobody's been engaging on it. Well, guess what? The purpose of an engagement post is not to get, or the purpose of a sales post is not to get engagement. It's not to get engagement. It's not to get a comment. It's often, hey, maybe you're asking someone to PM you. Maybe you're asking someone to email you. Maybe in my case, like you're asking someone to book a call with you, right? You're not saying, if you want to know more about this offer, write it all and bury your soul in the comments below, right? You're saying, hey, book a call with me, right? Or hey, PM me and let's chat, DM me, whatever your platform is. If you're looking to the amount of engagement that you get, or gosh, I put one post out there and somebody said if I did it this way and I use these words and I'd immediately fill up my practice or whatever, because that's what they did, you are always going to find reasons why your business isn't working. And that's because you're not committed to showing up and or you don't have the support and show up consistently through the ups and downs, through when you totally get in your head, which happens, especially if you're introverted, sensitive, and or a perfectionist. You're looking for all the reasons of, oh my gosh, your fear and self-doubt are like looking for ways to reinforce themselves. So are you doing the work to overcome the fear and self-doubt, to build self-confidence in yourself, not in a cocky way, but in a way that gets you up in the morning and goes, yes, I'm showing up for this today. I'm committed to bringing my vision about, and I'm committed to changing my thoughts for success, because I know that if I'm thinking correctly, then I will act in a way that brings my vision about, which is why both are required, self-belief and simple strategies, right? Melissa says, that's totally me. Jenny says, with toddlers, I think you're talking about, they're connecting hundreds of thousands of neurons a second, so they really have a different opinion every moment. Totally. And like, listen, that's a whole other conversation. They don't even know what they're doing a lot of the time. God bless her. Like, it's just taking some getting used to have gone from, you know, living in a household with another adult who's really sometimes rational, love you, honey, to somebody who, like you said, connecting hundreds of thousands of neurons a second. She's trying to figure out the world, doesn't even know how she's acting half the time, right? It's like, whoa, talk about like shiny object syndrome. It's a very interesting, fascinating study too in humanity. And also major confirmation that this girl's not cut out to be a preschool teacher. Thank you. Thank you that we live in this day and age when we get to be pioneers in the space of literally creating whatever we want our lives to look like and having access to the easiest business building tools ever, right? Now, any tool, any service, any opportunity, spectrum, right? Strengths and weaknesses. Taken to an extreme, this tool, this online tool, can become a weakness, because here are some of the weaknesses that I want to talk about. And, you know, this is something that we can get. This is where sometimes unhelpful advice comes from people who, and we see in an ad, who are farther along than us. Sometimes someone we see in a Facebook group who's promising these crazy results that they had just by this one, you know, post structure. I had somebody message me and say, hey, Christine, I want to launch this new business. I know what I want to do, but I just need to write a post, and I just need help with the messaging to write the one post that's going to get me all the clients. I need to know the exact words to say. And I was like, that's not how you build a business. It's not one post saying, this is the thing that I do, and the clients come banging down the doors. It's not the right words in one post. That's a start. That's introducing people to what you do. They need to hear it at least 7 times to even remember it, much less take action on buying it. Okay? So that includes this extreme of like listening to these influencers, these people with big ad budgets, these people who are really persistent about like, all you need is one simple whatever, like just do this new thing or hop on this new platform. This becomes a weakness because we stop listening to ourselves and we go, oh my gosh, I just need to build my business exactly like that person. Or, oh my gosh, I need to step into this cookie cutter thing and then I'll be successful. But what that leaves out is like, what do you want your life to look like? How are you uniquely built and gifted, right? As well as, you know, who is it that you even want to serve, right? Everybody is different. And so often we can look for validation and for free validation in this space that we wind up getting really confused and overwhelmed by all the helpful advice. We wind up throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall to see what sticks. None of it does because we're not consistent, persistent with any of it. And here's the other thing that we forget. It is so amazing to be pioneers in this space and time. It is so amazing that we are literally like the first generation who has fully embraced this concept of we can build our lives and our businesses from anywhere on our own terms. We are literally pioneers. So no wonder there's a lot of confusion. This wasn't the case for my parents. This wasn't the case for my grandparents, right? So it's very, very new in a way, even though if you're living in it and like immersing yourself in it, it doesn't feel new. It feels like everybody else is doing it, but they're not. Right? Just think about the number of people who don't get what you do or what you're building. And it will let you know that not everybody has an idea about this yet. Okay? Here's the other thing that I would say about that. a generation ago, my parents' generation, 2 generations ago, my grandparents' generation, it was totally normal to have to make an insignificant financial investment to start a business. Today, there's this belief that you don't have to do that. You don't have to invest in yourself or in anything else. You can scrap it together for free because so many people are offering things for free. But here's the thing. You get better results when you invest and when you put skin in the game of your own life. But the longer you keep trying to do it all by yourself and for free, the more likely you are to fall susceptible to this helpful advice, right? And to keep feeling really scattered and overwhelmed. So I think like the important thing that I want you to remember is that building a business online might be the cheapest, most efficient way to do it ever. Thank you for that, right? Such an amazing opportunity. It is still building a business. And I think that a lot of times when we hear this, like, I made 7 figures in a year, or like, just buy my simple program, I'll show you how, or I made 6 figures in 6 minutes, or whatever. What we forget is all the behind the scenes background trials and errors, failures that went into that, all the money someone invested to learn this stuff that helped them to accelerate their progress. And we forget that building a business at the end of the day is still building a business, getting clients, serving those clients well, clear messaging, being consistent, showing up, stopping listening to the naysayers, and developing the mindset of an entrepreneur rather than an employee. And I don't say that to discourage you, because you can be profitable in year 1 if you do it right. You can increase your income year over year, right? But what I would say very quickly, is this: where are you feeling stuck right now? That's the place to look at honing in on and moving through, because chances are you're naturally really good at some things, but maybe there are other parts of it that you hate, like you hate sales, or you hate committing to one thing and being consistent, showing up because you don't know what to say, or you don't know how to get your point across, right? Or you don't know how to offer your thing, or you're terrified to be on camera or put yourself out there and even start to get visible, right? Or you don't know how to follow up with people in a non-salesy, non-pushy way, right? Or you don't know how to brand your business. You don't know how to price, right? You don't know what to offer. There are a lot of different pieces of business building that are going to be true no matter what your business, no matter what your offer, no matter what your niche. And so the important thing is to recognize there are already some things that you're really good at showing up around, and like probably if you're sold on that piece, if you're confident and comfortable in that piece, if somebody says to you, oh, you should really think about that, you'll be like, I'm not, because I already know this is the right way, right? I already trust myself. The pieces where you don't yet trust yourself, those are the places to get help from somebody you would trade places from a mentor, from a coach, from somebody whose business you want to have, whose lifestyle you want to have, right? Those are the places to look at getting help and support, because that's the way you're going to move the quickest, right? That's where you're going to get your little feet held to the fire and show up for the things that you would normally avoid because they're uncomfortable, right? Like, I know the biggest leaps I've made in my business are when I said, look, I am great over here. I can show up and do that all day long, but the thing I avoid is this, because I know it's important, but I don't actually, it's uncomfortable enough that I don't want to show up and do it consistently, right? Does that make sense? If you all have those things, I'd love to hear what they are, because I will design some trainings just for you around those. And I'd also love to know, is this making sense? Is all this what I'm saying making sense? Because I'm giving you a lot of input here about how to be successful, because once you cut through the noise and go, oh my gosh, I'm not listening to my husband, he doesn't know what he's talking about in online business, right? Oh my gosh, I don't know, like, I'm not listening to my friend, or I'm not listening to my coworker, like, they don't know what they're talking about, they're not working on this, they're just saying stuff because talk is cheap and everybody wants to have an opinion, right? But nobody else has skin in the game of your own life. Nobody else puts on your pants and your shoes in the morning and says, like, I'm going to go live my day today, right? Nobody else walks into that office going, oh my gosh, I hate this, or, is around the house going, oh, I want more for my life. This is the picture that I have of my life, and I can't see how to cross that bridge between where I am and where I want to be, right? So let me know if this is helpful. And let me know what questions you have around this. This is such an important topic. And right now, I know that there are a lot of you who are stuck because of the unhelpful advice you are getting before you've gotten to the level of success that you want. And what I see happen all the time is people quitting because their husband or significant other is unsupportive and they decide it's not worth the fight anymore. Or they begin to doubt themselves to the point where they start hiding out, or they stop, they begin a downward spiral of like doubt and fear, and that stops them, right? When you take on other people's stuff, when you take on other people's doubts, suddenly that honeymoon period of excitement in your business and being fully booked, replacing your income and then some, those things begin to be drowned out by other people's opinions taking over. And that is not something that I want for you. I want you to have what you need to be able to do what it takes to show up with your message and your mission, because I know it's one of passion, or you wouldn't be here. I know it's one of service, because that's the kind of person who's in my community who really cares about taking care of their customers and wants to change the world, right? Wants to change the lives of their clients and also wants to change the world with the impact that you can have when you make the kind of income to feel free. So, one of the questions I get most often while I'm waiting for you all to ask me your questions about this really big topic, one of the questions that I get most often is, Christine, how can I apply this to my specific business? Like, I love what you're saying, but how do I apply this to my specific business? And here's what I want you to know. On Friday, my 6-month mentorship, which is my signature program and the most popular way to work with me as your mentor, as your coach, as your hold your hand and kick your butt person, on Friday, December 7th, that offer, that mentorship goes away. Now in 2019, I'm working on some other things, so you can stay tuned for that. But this has been my most popular offer in my business. This is the program that has helped 75% of my clients and counting to quit, or if they're already out, to stay out of their 9-to-5s by building these income replacing businesses around their passions. You all, this is my zone of genius. And it goes away on December 7th. It goes away in 5 days. So if this is something you want to know more about, or you've been thinking about it for a while and you're like, I'll do it later, now's not the right time because I'm busy or because X, Y, Z or whatever, I want to let you know that if this is interesting to you, you got to chat with me about it this week, because it's going to be gone. And I know that this is the container that can help you trash all the unhelpful advice, get super, super clear, and get that customized plan of simple strategies and the self-belief to replace your income and then some. Because the fastest way to get where you want to be is to get help from someone you believe can help you, and to get that support and accountability to show up every day for your business and learn from someone who's done it, rather than spinning your wheels or throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall or waking up every day going, what am I going to say today? Or what am I going to do now? Or how the heck am I going to get those customers, right? So there are only, like I said, there's only until the 7th. There are only 5 days to get this offer, to chat with me about it before it disappears for good. I'm dropping a link in the comments to schedule a free call with me, a clarity call where we're going to get you clear on your next steps in your business. What is it that you even need to be working on right now, so that you're going to walk away knowing that your next best step, but also you can get your questions answered about whether 6-month mentorship is right for you right now, right? My goal is for this to be, there's the link. My goal is for this to be for the right people. And actually, several spots were already taken. So this morning, right before I got on this, I had to open up some more spots. So I've opened up some evening spots and some daytime spots through Friday, because I want you to be able to take advantage of this if you want, since it is going away. Melissa says, very helpful. Thank you. Leah says, this live has come right on time for me. Have you been listening through my phone? Oh my gosh. I'm so glad, Leah. That makes me really, really happy. Thank you for sharing that, because you know that's why I do this, because I know it's a timely thing. So thank you for sharing that. That means a lot to me. Jenny says, such an amazing offer. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. So I encourage you to consider taking me up on that free call. I know you're going to get a ton of value out of it and as part of that, learn if this 6-month mentorship with me walking alongside you every step of the way is right for you. I like to say it's like having a business partner who's been there and done that without having the headache or having to give away the equity in your business, the future earnings, right? That you have to with a business partner. You know, a business partner is kind of like getting married without any of the benefits of being married. So if you split up, it's kind of like a divorce without ever having had any of the fun times. So my goal for you is to come alongside you and work with you in the way that's best for you, right? Using my years of career counseling and teaching as a professor and running my own successful businesses and online marketing. And of course, helping so many high achievers all over the world, just like you, to do this thing. That I encourage you, now is the time to step up and know that you're fully supported, right? To have that person in your corner who's going to help your dreams start coming true right now, at the end of 2018, and as we start 2019. If you're still in a 9-to-5 or you're afraid you're going to have to go back in 2019, and your intention, New Year's resolution, if you make them, your goal is to replace your income or quit or stay out of that 9-to-5 in 2019, 75% of my clients have done that. I don't know any other coach who has that kind of success rate. I am 1,000,000% invested in your success. And I love to talk to you about if your situation is right for this mentorship and to work with me privately. Melissa says, this mentorship is amazing. If you're thinking about it, do it. You'll be so happy that you did. Make 2019 the best year ever. Melissa, I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. Melissa is totally kicking butt, getting mad results, serving her clients in an incredible way. Totally booked out with a waiting list. I'm so proud of you, Melissa. It's been a fantastic 6 months for you. You rock, girlfriend. And I'm so, so, so proud of you to have you in my life and to get to help and support you. And so, my friends, I will leave you with that. You have a wonderful afternoon. If I can answer any questions for you, feel free to PM me or send me an email at christine@lifewithpassion.com. But do book a call if you're thinking about it. And I'd be happy to help you sort through whether this 6-month mentorship is right for you while you still have the chance. I'm sending you so much love, so much belief, and so much income replacement success. Mwah.